Hello, I'm Lara Letaw, a researcher from Oregon State University. For students, online courses are flexible, but also come with challenges. For example, some online post-bac CS students at Oregon State University are getting their second bachelor's degree while also employed full-time, caregiving for children and parents, facing medical challenges, logging in from different time zones than their peers, or struggling with a poor internet connection. With so much going on in real life and not much contact with student peers, students can feel isolated in the online classroom. One of our study goals was to improve the climate in online CS courses. Our strategy was to do so through the online students themselves. In summary, we developed new learning materials, integrated them into online CS courses, and observed what happened. The new materials were about inclusive software design. We hypothesized that the very act of learning to design more inclusive software would help students feel more included and prompt them to behave more inclusively toward others. We had two research questions. RQ1, how was the climate among the students affected? RQ2, how was students' view of user diversity and ability to make inclusive software affected? For the sake of time, I'll mostly focus on RQ1. Our setting was the online post-bac CS program at Oregon State University. We added inclusive design learning materials to two junior level courses, Software Engineering 1 and Introduction to Databases. I'll focus on the software engineering course. These courses were large, each with more than 150 students enrolled, and took place over 10-week terms. Like their on-campus counterparts, the online CS courses had regular assignment deadlines and teaching staff assigned for the term. But there were no required synchronous meeting times, and students could access all course materials through the Canvas learning management system. Through an action research study, we gathered data from 75 online CS students, 34 of those from the software engineering course. We gave students a pre-questionnaire at the beginning of the course, and at the end of the course, gave them a post-questionnaire and collected their coursework. To incorporate our new learning materials into the online CS courses, we followed the community of inquiry model. This model is used for improving the quality of learning in online courses and for increasing engagement and motivation among online students. Following the model involves supporting 3 classroom presences: social, cognitive, and teaching. The people affected by these presences are students, teachers, and teaching assistants. Social presence is about having opportunities to participate as a real person within the course, such as through sharing personal beliefs and experiences. Cognitive presence is about engaging with and deriving meaning from course materials. That can, for example, be supported by getting regular, meaningful feedback from an instructor. Teaching presence is about course design and facilitation. One way to support this presence is by giving students clear course guidelines and assignment requirements. The new learning materials we developed and incorporated into the online CS courses were of 3 different types. Those for teaching that cognitively diverse people interact with technology in different ways. Those for teaching heuristics for detecting and correcting bias in technology designs. And those for teaching students to apply those heuristics to designing better software. I will focus on the cognitive diversity learning materials. The learning materials content was derived from GenderMag, so let me explain what that is. GenderMag is a set of methods for finding and fixing bias in technology design. By bias, we mean that the technology is more usable to one group than another. Part of the GenderMag methods are the GenderMag personas, Abby, Pat, and Tim. The personas represent different ranges of cognitive diversity, specifically across 5 cognitive facets: motivations, information processing style, computer self-efficacy, risk averseness, and technology learning style. Each cognitive facet has 2 values. These pairs of values form 5 spectra. A person's cognitive styles are their placements along these spectra. The Abby persona represents one side of the spectra, Tem represents the other side, and Pat represents the middle. The facet values are as follows: comprehensive or selective information processing, by process or by tinkering learning style, task completion or tech interest for motivations, averse or tolerant attitude toward risk, and low or high computer self-efficacy. We developed an activity in which students did a self-reflection to identify their own cognitive styles, and another activity for sharing their cognitive styles with 4 teammates. Students worked with the same teammates for the whole term. Students did the self-reflection and the cognitive styles team discussion activities at the beginning of the term. As they found out, their teammates were cognitively diverse. The results of the curriculum changes were encouraging. From the self-reflection activity, we saw evidence of students thinking about how they think, how their cognition affects interactions with technology and other people, ways to optimize how they learn, and evidence of students becoming more accepting of themselves. For example, one student wrote that identifying their cognitive styles helped them feel more confident because they could newly describe an aspect of themselves they hadn't been able to put into words. Through the team discussion, students continued to discover new aspects of themselves, learned about the diversity of their teammates, and became more accepting of that diversity. For example, one student mentioned they became more understanding of teammates who tinker, which was different from their own approach of comprehensively gathering information before acting. We saw cognitive styles seep even further into teams, into the way they worked. Students began to co-value cognitive styles, to use the language of cognitive styles in team discussions, and to position each other as specialists based on their cognitive styles. For example, students mentioned that when attempting to make a software design work better for people with particular cognitive styles, they would seek out a teammate whose cognitive styles matched. Students even more explicitly mentioned why having a cognitively diverse team was valuable. It made the team's product better. One student wrote that because their team covered all sides of the facet spectra, their team ended up making a more usable web app. Lastly, we saw evidence of students thinking beyond themselves and beyond their teammates, considering and expressing compassion for diverse users faced with unusable software, and feeling responsible for the bad experience those users were having. As one student put it, "That's not right. I felt a sense of responsibilities to users like these." Quantitatively, our results were also encouraging. Nearly all participants reported feeling included by discussing cognitive styles with others, which they did throughout the course in their teams. Nobody reported feeling excluded. Women especially seemed to benefit, with 92% feeling included. We also asked students whether they in general felt included by their teammates and whether they felt included by classmates outside their team. While women did not feel as included as men in their teams, overall students felt more included in their teams than outside of them. By the end of the course, students felt more like they belonged in the CS major and more likely to complete their degree. In conclusion, online CS students mentioned positive effects on themselves and on teamwork and linked those positive effects to learning cognitive styles. Students reported feeling included by discussing cognitive styles with others, and nobody felt excluded by that. When we looked at those inclusion results by gender, they still held, and the results were highest for women. We are still using these learning materials at OSU and posted them online in editable formats at tinyurl.com/ICER2021-GenderMag-SUPP and at the GenderMag Teach website, sites.google.com/site/GenderMagTeach.